In this video, I'm looking at another addition to UVLayout in 2025.02 version. So let's just have a look at the mesh here and just go UV view. Okay, so this change is it's a preference setting. So we go about UVLayout, under edit here. And it's just this one down here that says GH select. So by default, it's on rect. And so what that is, I'll just move that off to the side here. When you're using the, let's say the G key, let's say in this case I want to select some of these polys so I can detach them. So that's with the G key, and here I am drawing out a rectangle. So that's pretty basic. You just click and drag to select the area that you want to mark, and so then I can use enter to detach those. So that's the default setting, which is just simple click and drag rectangle marquee selection there. So the other option, this is new, is the poly mode. And so let's demo that. So again, if I use G and then click and drag, I get a rectangle. What's changed now is once I release, it doesn't select the polygons, it allows me to edit that shape. So you don't have to get it exactly right the first time. You can just click and drag, draw out the rectangle, and then adjust those corners to adjust the selection. And then when you're happy with that positioning, you've got to hit space to activate that selection. If you're not happy, you can use enter to just abort. So we're going to do space, and so it's selected that rectangle. Okay, so that's the one use of the new poly mode for selection. So let's go back to G again, and I'll show you the other one. So if instead of click and drag, if you just click and release, so I go click and release to set one point, click and release to set another point, and so I can keep doing that. And then, so that's place some initial points. If I move the mouse pointer to one of the edges, you can see it highlights a bit there, and you can click and drag to insert a point. So let's say if I wanted to adjust that profile, and then you can still move those points around. So that's the second mode of that polygon select, is we just click and add points, and you can insert points and move them around. Again, you have to hit space to activate that selection. And then just finally, if I go back to G again, stretch a rectangle. So again, as I demonstrated, that's to move the corners, but if you move the mouse pointer to the middle of an edge, you can add a point to that initial rectangle if you wanted. And just to mention that the difference between a dashed and a solid line is a solid line indicates it's just the direction is free. A dotted line is it tries to maintain that rectangle perpendicular. So here I'm moving that corner and maintains the 90 degrees corner in those dotted lines, whereas the solid line here is not trying to maintain a 90 degree. Alright, so, and then if I go enter, it does nothing. So that's the difference between rectangle mode for the selection, is where you just draw out a rectangle and release and it's done, but you've got no chance to change the shape, versus poly mode, where I can draw out the shape and then edit it, move it around, adjust it, then hit space. So that's the GH select mode, rectangle versus poly.